Hey guys, it's Gino breaking down UFC 277. All right, I primarily go DraftKings, but I'm going to talk a lot of betting too because I think that's more stable. So I'm doing that as well, and I think there's a lot of value to that in terms of providing you all with content. Before I get started, if you have not done so, I'm going to ask really nice, really nice. Come on in and listen. Come on and listen. Subscribe to my channel, and then like this video. Y'all drive me crazy with that. Okay. So let's get on into Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes. I like Pena. She's $7,000 and she's already beat Nunes. I've talked about it in other videos, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time. She's plus 600 to get a decision, plus 650 to get a submission. Close lines. She hung tough with her. I'm going all in on the fight. Now, Nunes is plus 300 KO TKO in round one. What I want to see is who is less owned. Because if Nunes, if her ownership's suppressed, I'm going to go more Nunes. Because I'm looking at it from a DraftKings perspective. Betting-wise, I'm not betting this fight. Scary fight. Women's MMA. No. But DraftKings-wise, I'm going to go for leverage. Moreno versus Kai Kara France. Moreno has won already against when they fought in 2019, but that was a while ago. Both guys have gotten better, but I still think Moreno wins. At a plus 140 decision. It's 5 rounds. The over 4.5 is minus 160. So either guy could score well in a decision. Now, if you look, Kara France finished Cody Garbrandt, and then he's also finished Bontorin in round 1. So if he can somehow pull that off here, he'll pay well at 7,300. He's got an 86% takedown defense going against a guy who averages 2 takedowns per 15 minutes. So I give him the advantage. I do think the value goes towards him as well because he's going to be less owned and he brings more upside in terms of scoring. But I'm going to own both guys. It's a 5-round fight. But you'll notice I'm not all in because I'm all in on this fight. Okay, I like Derek Lewis versus Sergey Pavlovich. Somebody's getting finished. It's that simple. Now I'm going to pick Pavlovich because I think Derek Lewis is declining, but I'm not crazy. Derek Lewis can knock anybody out with a clean shot. He did go to round 3 against a Gon that was improved, that an improved Gon that's continued to grow, but he did get finished by him. He was beat. But the fight itself is essentially a coin flip. And then you have Pavlovich, who's also just not proven. He could come out and be a total dud, and then Derek Lewis just expose him. So what I'm going to do, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look to see who is less owned, and then I'm going to get more of them, but I'm going all in because this fight, I think, is a great 3-round fight for scoring. Both guys are priced below 8,500. Yes, please. Oh, I'm also going to bet the under 1.5 on that. We have Pantoja versus Perez. Now, Pantoja is 8,700 to Perez is 7,500, but I think that's fair. And Pantoja, I think, wins this, and I think he wins it by KO, TKO, or submission. He's going to get a finish. Here's why. The over 2.5 is minus 145. So you're like, how can you say that? But it's minus 150 not to go to decision. I think that goes in his favor. He's never been finished. I don't see it happening here. He's plus 175 for a decision, plus 330 for a submission, plus 400 for a KO, TKO. All those are relatively close. So I like Pantoja, but I'm going to load up on both guys because they're, you have 7 career submissions in Perez, and maybe he can do that here. I don't see it happening, but he could, and we're playing multiple lineups, so I'll get both guys. Ankalaev versus Anthony Smith. I'm going to go Anthony Smith. The dog or pass guys solidified it for me. Plus 380 is disrespectful, but that's fine. I appreciate it. I'm going to play him, and he's 6,800 on DraftKings. Oh, yes. I'm going to bet him, but here's what I'm going to bet. I'm going to bet that prop. Plus 1,100 KO TKO, and here's why. He's plus 1,200 to get a submission, and then plus 900 to get a decision. I think those are so close. I'd rather take my chances with him getting the finish. Ankalaev, on the other hand, I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about him. He scores under 85 fantasy points in his decisions, and he's plus 100 to get a decision. No, thank you. 9,400? Nope, I pass. So dog or pass in this fight. And he's my high dollar fade, Ankalaev is. You have Moreno versus Semmelsberger. I'm going with Semmelsberger, who is the favorite, who I believe should be the favorite. But there's a lot of worlds where this fight just doesn't score well. Possibly I may match the field on it. I'm not going to bet it. But I still don't know what I'm going to do with this fight. But there's a lot of worlds where the fight doesn't score well, especially with both guys. You have plus 200 decision, you have plus 225 decision, and neither guy really scores well in their decision. So Yeah, I'm not gonna go crazy with that. Drew Dober versus Rafael Alves. I'm gonna go Alves, and I'm gonna go round 2 submission plus 1800. Here's how I see it playing out: wear Dober down in the first round, and then he gets a submission in the second round. He's not gonna knock him out. Dober's chin is like freaking unbelievable, but Dober is plus 140 KO TKO, so I'm gonna get him too because we're playing DraftKings multiple lineups. And then bet wise, I'm going to put a little sprinkle on that plus 1800 round 2 submission for Alves because I think that's how he wins. And he brings a good ceiling for DraftKings. He's plus 400 submission, plus 650 decision, plus 650 KO TKO. All very close. 2 of them are identical. So, yeah, I like the value there with Rafael Alves. Dontel Mays versus Abdullah Wahab. So, I don't like Mays. I don't think he's that great. I'd rather take my chances on Abdullah Wahab, who's unproven, who could come in, get crushed. What did Paul say? He said he's freaking human pair. I guess I was cracking up at that. Also, if you haven't watched their show, you're missing out because I mean, talk about a detailed breakdown. It's a must watch if you're trying to play UFC. Dog or pass. So I'm going to be heavily invested in this fight though. I'm going to play both guys because I like the odds of it finishing early. Under 1.5 is minus 160. If one of these guys gets a first round finish bonus, it'll pay well, especially the 7,700 guy who I think nobody's going to play because nobody knows who he is. But if you go back and watch him, he's done what he's supposed to do against the people he's supposed to do it to. So there is a chance where he just comes out and he is good enough to take Mays down. You have Close versus Rafa Garcia. Now, I'm going to go Close by decision, but it's going to be dog or pass because I don't see Close scoring well. He doesn't score well. He did fight a Dariush well prior to getting finished, but he's not scored over 100 fantasy points in a decision, and he's $9,000. I'll pass on him. Now, Garcia, on the other hand, he's $7,100, and he has the upside. So I'll play him, but I'm not going to go crazy with it. Morales versus Fugit. I like Morales, and I like the fact that he's priced up because I think a lot of people will be off him. And he's got 11 finishes within the first 2 rounds in his career of 13-0. So but his last 4 opponents are 37-16. Not all that to write home about. And he's fighting a black belt in Fugit. He's 4-0 in his last MMA fights, but that's MMA. Like he wasn't fighting UFC, and there's levels to this, and that's not promising to me. But both are appealing, and especially with the underset at 1.5 and that 9,500, I could see a lot of people getting off Morales, and you could have similar to the Makayev situation where everybody got off him and you could get some leverage. Now you have Ji Yeon Kim versus Jocelyn Edwards. Fade. I'll leave it. You guys can pause the video and look at that for a second, but I'm not going to waste our time talking about it because it's a fade, and I guess if I bet it, I would go Kim decision just because she's the value. She's fought better people, and she's plus 115. Nikolai Negumarianu versus Ior Poteria. I'm going Negumarianu round 1 finish. Here's why. You have Poteria, who's minus 145, and he has been finished in round 1 earlier in his career. He's on a roll. He's on a roll in his last 6 wins, but his opponents have a combined record of 24-17. That's not that impressive. And he's fighting a guy in Negumarianu who's 4-1 in his UFC fights. Finally, Poteria has 0 UFC wins, unless you consider the Dana White Contender Series, which if you watch that, you can see where those guys are hit or miss. So it's not something I'm going to go crazy about. But I do think the value here is with the dog, which is Negumarianu, and that's who I'm going to have more of. Now you have Kosei versus Blood Diamond. I don't love the fight. I don't love the fact that Kosei is 8,800, but all of his wins have been by finish. So I think you can't fade him because he's under 9K and he's got that finish upside. But I'm going to go more ownership towards the dog here because I think Blood Diamond can get a win at plus 135. I think he's still really unproven. He's fresher. And I'm gonna just assume that he's getting better every time after a fight. All right, guys. Hey, so that's the whole breakdown. I tried to get it to you guys early. I want to be able to talk about it again. If you want to talk about it, I'm at TheRealGC9 on Twitter. Also, if you are interested, I have the DFS Army website below. We have so many different tools. We have a VIP podcast specifically to UFC. It helps give you an edge. Since I've been in it, I've taken down the Minimax 3 times. It's a good place to be, and even the people that aren't coaches help you, and they'll talk to you, and I'll talk. It's just a great community. All right, guys. Hey, I appreciate it, and I hope everybody hits this week. All right. See ya.